Hello, good morning and welcome to the most exciting and interactive 30 minutes of your day here on the Joy News channel, on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144, on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram with Joy News on TV. This is JoyNews Interactive and I am Peter Siwidi. Thank you so much for your company. Now, when the BBC Sex for Grades documentary came out, there were a lot of conversations happening on social media. One of those conversations was about sexual harassment, because a lot of people thought that, you know, because of Sex for Grades, they were expecting to see, the lecturers having sex with the students. But the conversation moved to sexual harassment, that these lecturers were soliciting and sexually harassing the students. As we know, sexual harassment is a type of harassment technique that relates to sexual nature and the unwelcome or inappropriate promise of rewards in exchange for sexual favors. Sexual harassment includes a range of actions from mild transgressions to sexual abuse or assault. Harassment can occur in many different social settings, such as the workplace, the home, school, churches, and harassers or the victims may be of any genders. Now, when I was monitoring some of the conversations that were happening on social media, it seems like a lot of people are confused with what sexual harassment is. Also, many of the people on social media feel like they've been harassed, or actually realized they were harassed only after they read through the conversations, and a lot of victims were speaking out. But if you did not know, here are some types of sexual harassment that were being discussed on the Super Morning Show.
There are three broad types of sexual harassment. The first one is quid pro quo. Give me this, I'll give you that. Give me sex, I'll give you grades. Give me sex, I'll give you job. Give me sex, I'll give you promotion. Let me fondle you in return for favorable conditions in the workplace. So quid pro quo, this for that.
Or I'll give you a lift home.
Oh, yeah. Sex for lift party, what happened to Uber? But then it can be that little. Little favors. I'll give you the accommodations, few accommodations for people. I'll favor you over other people. So that's one. Then the next one is hostile environment, where your gestures, your speaking, you create an environment where people are grossly uncomfortable. Most often it targets their bodies and their personalities and things they've done. So then you make a lot of fun about it. For example, when we start calling you sexy Danny, you know, and because of the way your voice is, or this your slender look, and this your well pedicured mustache.
Okay, I'm feeling harassed now.
Yeah, very good. Thank you for expressing to listeners how it feels. So we begin to reference it, and then they talk, and people talk about your voice. Oh, your voice is this and voice is that. And it makes you heavily uncomfortable. Every time you open your mouth to speak, you wonder how it's coming out, and it begins to affect even productivity. So hostile environment. Sometimes also it targets you to make you uncomfortable because some sexual gestures were turned down or some actions were taken about sexual harassment. So that's one. But generally it's making the workplace hostile. Then there's a third one that we refer to as retaliation. You gave an example, Senyo gave an example of you being sanctioned because, for example, you're associated sexually with somebody, and maybe your supervisor or the lecturer is also interested in or doesn't like you to be with that person. Another one is you've reported sexual harassment, they come back at you. Another scenario is you've served as a witness to a case of sexual harassment, you are targeted. And thirdly, you declined request for sexual favors, you become a target. Or you actually granted the sexual favor. It happened. Everything went down. You thought the docket was closed. Then you become the #1 enemy in the institution. Okay. So those are the three broad types.
Okay.
All right, so those are the three broad types of sexual harassment. Like I said earlier, this Sex for Grades documentary really opened up a can of worms, opened up conversation. Victims are starting to speak out on social media. Victims are starting to speak out. But here are some victims who are speaking on Strong and Sassy Show with Nashoko.
I was so happy. I was like, finally, someone took the bold step to bring out men doing this, bring out lecturers doing this. So I was so happy. I had it all over my status. Like, God bless whoever brought up this idea.
God bless whoever did this.
Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Amma?
Actually, a lot went through my mind because I just felt like it shouldn't have been a one-sided thing. In as much as I've been a victim, I won't only speak on the side of victims. I'll also speak on the side of lecturers and how they get into this as well. So
Okay.
I thought about.
So you felt that the documentary was one-sided?
Yes.
Okay. What's your story?
Actually, when I got to level 100, I had 2 lecturers chasing me from the same department.
When you say chasing you, what do you mean?
I mean, coming up to me, they wanted to have me, they wanted to have informal relationship with me aside academics.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did this chasing start?
With one person, I used to go to the TA's office a lot for some extra tuition stuff because I wasn't attending tutorials. I was only attending lectures, and tutorials was part of our timetable schedule, but I wasn't attending tutorials for one reason or the other. So I was seeing TAs personally for special tutorials.
Okay.
And then one time, one of the lecturers just saw me in the office, and he asked that I see him in his office. So I saw him after my tuition, and we were talking. I think we were discussing something about the Bible, and he overheard me say something. So I got interested. I thought I could share more in his office. I got there, and then I ended up telling him about my personal life, and I lost my dad, and so he showed some kind of sympathy, and I thought, oh, this man wants to be of help or something. So he asked me to keep seeing him in his office, and so I used to go there. Anytime I go for lectures, I just pass by, I came to say hello and stuff. And it got to one time I went to his office. When I got home, he texted me that I was looking all sweet, and he felt like kissing me. I didn't know how to go about the whole thing, but I kept this. I never told anyone till recently. I raised it amongst my friends, and then that was it. The other lecturer was actually my lecturer who taught me in class. He used to teach me, and he one day met me and said, "Oh, I've realized you are close to almost everyone in this department. I want to be close to you too. I want you to be close to me as well." I said, okay. So he gave me his contact. No, he took my contact actually, and then he texted me. Somewhere along the line, he asked me to be seeing him in his home and I asked him where his wife and his kids were. He said I shouldn't bother about that. I should never mind. I should just come over to his house. And so with him, the way he kept persistent, I just had to block him, not for him to see my text, nothing.
Now, those are some victims of sexual harassment expressing and telling and sharing their stories on the Strong and Sassy show with Na Ashoko. Like I said, this conversation is something that I think it was about time that we have it, because not a lot of people understand what sexual harassment is. Not a lot of people understand that they've been sexually harassed. Some know that they've been sexually harassed, but they are afraid to come out. And we know that some of this ends up being rape, they are assaulted, and that might affect their mental health. And speaking of mental health, today is Mental Health Day, and it's a day for global mental health education, awareness, and advocacy against social stigma. Now, it was first celebrated in 1992 at the initiative of the World Federation for Mental Health, a global mental health organization with members and contacts in more than 150 countries. This year's theme is mental health promotion and suicide prevention. We had a conversation on the AM show. Let's watch this. All right, apologies for that. It seems like we don't have that video, but we'll try to bring it to you at before the end of the bulletin, or God willing, tomorrow. On that note, I'm going to take a quick breather. We'll be back with more. Welcome back from that breather. You're still watching JoyNews Interactive with myself, Mapita CBD. You know how to continue the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram with JoyNews on TV. Now, hashtag Joy Clean Ghana campaign. As you know, we've been running this campaign here at JoyNews. We're trying to enforce and trying to fulfill and make sure that Akufo-Addo's promise, President Akufo-Addo's promise to make Ghana the cleanest, actually Accra the cleanest city in Africa, you know, let it come alive. So hashtag Joy Clean Ghana has been making rounds, and we know that Millers and Makola markets tidied up their shops while others were shut down. Now, you've been reacting to this. As always, we bring you those reactions. Let's go to Facebook and see what you had to say. This one is from Abdullah Haruna, who says the only way to save you is to do the right thing. Bismarck says you're doing the right thing, and if you can do the same to our roads, it'll be nice so people will not throw waste away. Che Casimir says you're indeed a true son of GH. God bless you. Nana Kwame says the work is more than you people. We need more hands. And I mean, this conversation has come up a lot of times with people on social media saying that JoyNews needs more help. But honestly, Nana Kwame, after typing that, what did you do? Did you try and tidy up in your neighborhood? Did you try call some of your friends to tidy up? So if you say we need more friends, but you're not doing anything, how does this really help? Remember, it's up to every one of us, each and every one of us to do it. So you can't say we need more hands if you're also not willing to help. But let's continue with some of those comments. This one is from Irina Hammond, who says, good work. Samuel J. Bossa says, we're all in support. We're all in to support what you're doing, Joy Clean Ghana campaign. Fatih Muhammad says, you guys are doing a great job. And Edward Mensah says, thanks to Joy Clean Ghana sanitation team. Keep on moving. William Davis Ajakum says, we need attitudinal change, period. And Nana Kwame says, if we don't change our attitude towards sanitation, no effort could change the situation. Anointed Kweku says we have to enforce the attitudinal change which will change the situation. So those are some of your comments on Facebook about the Joy Clean Ghana campaign. You've been reacting and sharing some of your thoughts. And like one of the comments said, we need more hands, which means today or tomorrow, this weekend, call some of your friends. Instead of going to the beach for the first 2 hours of the day, how about you spend the first 2 hours of the day cleaning up in your environment? Now, as we know, October is Breast Cancer Month, and cancer occurs when changes called mutations take place in genes that regulate cell growth. Now, these let the cells divide and multiply in an uncontrolled way. But breast cancer is cancer that develops in breast cells, and typically the cancer forms in either the lobules or the ducts of the breast. Now, many of this breast cancer is curable. You can cure breast cancer, but a lot of women find out when it's way too late, and a simple examination after a shower could have saved their lives. Most women don't know how to examine themselves, but we had a guest on the AM show and she gave us a simple examination. Let's watch.
I think you can do it lying down, but you can also do it standing.
Like this?
Like this.
I know.
Okay.
What should you do?
So, first of all, I hope it's okay if I thank you. Okay. It's always good to get consent from the person. Thank you so much. So like I mentioned, you stand in front of your mirror and you're looking at both breasts. You are trying to compare to see if you notice any changes in one that were not there before or that isn't in the other one. So you're looking for skin changes. You're looking for if the nipple suddenly has gone in where it used to be protruding before, any swelling. And like I mentioned with the pendulous breast too, it's also important for you to lift the breast and also look underneath it to see if you see any of those changes. So that's the first thing that you do. You shouldn't be in a hurry to just touch the breast. You want to just look at it and spend a good 2-3 minutes.
So that is like the physical examination?
That's the physical examination. That's the first part of the physical examination. So you're just looking at that spend a good 2 to 3 minutes just really looking, really paying attention.
In front of the mirror.
In front of the mirror. In front of the mirror for the self-examination. When you're doing it with the doctor is the one looking, so that's all right. But for your self-examination in front of the mirror. The second thing you want to do is, and I'll stand a bit away from you, is to stretch out your arms.
Can you stretch?
And then slowly lift them up, 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 above your head. Okay. And then you slowly bring it down again. Okay.
And now why is she doing this?
What you're looking for is to make sure that the breasts are rising and falling uniformly. Okay. So during the process, you want to see, are they moving? Okay. So you use the nipple as the center of your circle. Okay. And then you divide the breast into 4.
And divide the breast.
You
like
divide the breast
into 4.
The single breast
so like this
into
one,
4.
You do it into 4.
Exactly. Please don't get too close to my patients. Thank you. So you use that, and then what you are aiming for is to make sure that you've covered every quarter of the breast region. Okay. So you start from 1 quarter. I choose to start from here, and then what you're trying to do is you get Michaelina to raise her hand. Could you raise your hand and put it at the back of your head? So what that does is that it tenses the muscles behind so that you know that what you are feeling is the breast tissue. And then you firmly, but not painfully, you press it against the chest wall. So you are basically just pushing the breast tissue against the chest wall, trying to see if you find any mass or anything that will cause you.
And you can do this wearing a shirt, right? Like the way Michaelina.
No, so we are doing this for public TV, but ideally you should do it bare-chested.
Okay.
Yes, not even in a bra. You should do this bare-chested. Okay. So you do that, and then you do the nipple region separately. And then this area, which we call the axillary tail, is actually part of the breast tissue.
Axillary tail?
Yes, of the breast. So what you want to do is that you also want to go up and also feel there, because this is all, even up there, because this is all breast tissue. And sometimes some of these lumps too may find themselves there. So you really want to know, okay? So you check for that, and then when you're doing the second breast, you just do the same thing for the second breast. Okay. I think
she should turn.
I think it's just face. Yes. So.
Okay. And what should you be looking out for? Because it's just as if you're. I think most breasts, if you take them, they have these lumps in. So sometimes, which one do you get to know whether it's just the normal one and not the when you're doing this?
So, of course, since I've had some exposure, I would be able to know.
Okay.
But the key is that what we are advocating for is for you to do it regularly.
And that's how we end today's edition of Joy News Interactive. It's October, so ladies, you need to get, familiar with your breast. You need to make sure you go for a breast examination. And there are a lot of breast examinations taking place all around the country. They're free, so do yourself a favor and check your breast. Thank you so much for watching Joy News Interactive. You know how to continue the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or Joy News on TV. And I am Apito CBD.